me what's on your mind.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have already been chided for being late. What's up? Hello, Rob. What's up,
What's
man?
up, Rob?
The second to last campaign that was featured is this gentleman right here, Shadow Punk. It's his comic. He is still on Indiegogo, and it's still an incredible campaign. You get a T-shirt and a 3D figurine upon sign up. It will send it to you the first day, and it's a really cool, really well made T-shirt, and the figurine is awesome. Anyway, so anyway, so he's gonna ride shotgun with me today. I was maybe a few more pop in. I don't know, but
you know what would be cool? I was thinking, some people have they're more animated,
yeah.
right? So what you would do is on your show, you would have somebody, you're like the Johnny Carson, and then you have somebody who's the opposite of you, right? Yeah. And not Ed McMahon was kind of like in the shadows, right?
Right.
Somebody like Robin or somebody like Robin Quivers or somebody. Yeah. You know who that person could be?
Who?
That person could be Piper. She could be your sidekick because she's very animated and her voice is really good at cutting through.
Well, Piper has about 4 times the subs I do, so she would be slumming to be on this channel. So.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just. You're right. but you know what? But it does bring up the point that she's a type of person.
Yeah. Well, when I've had her on, I had her on the last time. She up and disappeared and declared that she wasn't getting her word in edgewise. And I rewatched the stream, and I didn't see where she was being forbidden, because I kind of pride myself in everybody getting a voice. Right. So. Whether she comes back on the channel or not, I have no idea.
I'm sure she will. Yeah.
But I mean, we have a bunch of opinionated guys, and it's kind of, I try to make sure everybody gets a voice. And you got people like Belmont and Aaron who will sit there and just occasionally chime in, make asides, but you have to make room for them. And you got people like Buddy and Luke Stone who would just run away with everything, or you who likes to derail everything and take it in
I've never done
exotic new directions. You're kind of like a challenge too, Mr. Random.
I will say this, okay? Call me psycho if you want, but I think the energy
psycho. Dear Psycho. Yeah, there you go.
The energy that a woman brings to the show, especially Piper, she has great energy.
Yes, she does. I'd love to have her on, but like I said, I don't know if that's a feasible thing. She knows the link is in the chat. I mean, if she wants to pop on, she knows we're here. So.
Well, I hope she does, because it's fun when she's on. And we all have to admit this, though. On the show with a lot of people, it does become kind of crazy.
Yeah, it does. It does. Will is one creator's outlet, or me. No, Will, you're kind of laid back. But you do like to throw me boomerang every once in a while. So
he does throw boomerangs.
Well, he likes to throw things out there, and then later on, I'm like, oh, that's where he was going with that, That's what I mean by boomerangs.
You know,
So,
he's so natural when he's talking on camera. Because he has his own show too.
Well, he used to be I think he used to be in radio.
Yeah. I think something like a DJ or something like that. But
you're being accused. Simping for Piper. Oh,
well, you know, he does worse things.
Hello, everyone. Right? Hey, Sim. What's up, Sim? Got a celebrity over there. What's up, dude? Yeah. Well, I mean, I get your point. But you know, one of the things that I've discovered about running your own show is that you can invite everybody. You can tell them where you're going to be. You can put it in the chat. You can like have it posted for a week at a time, and the night of, it's just you, and or you can just do things last minute, slap it together, and say 5 minutes. I'm going to stream, guys, if you can make it, and then have a full panel. So. I mean, I've done a lot of prep work for like weeks on something, and then have 2 people show up, and I mean, and then I've had like absolutely no prep work. I'm like asses and elbows trying to get everything together, and nothing's running right. And then I'll have the biggest audience that I've had in years. I mean,
the best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah,
podcasters.
It's completely, totally out of my hands.
Here's an idea. Okay, what if you ever found, it would be awesome if you found somebody who is a SJW and you agree to have that person could be on the show often.
Right.
And that person, the intention would be the debate. Because we're almost in an echo chamber, right? I mean, it's almost like we all.
Well, Wyatt Eastman is libertarian, and he has a lot of views that aren't exactly ones that I agree with. But he connects a lot to the pros that we have all eschewed, walked away from, and he still has conversations with them, and he's able to do that. And
I mean, how libertarian can he be, though? I mean, we're all kind of libertarian. If we're conservative type people, we're all kind of libertarian.
Well, he's like, shall we say, enough left that that he can speak their language and they don't feel like, oh no, he's one from the other camp.
That's true. Because he mentioned that he was on podcasts and with SJWs.
Yeah, SJWs, they don't debate, they just scream.
Can't we get Wyatt to fight with us?
No, we can't, because he agrees with me on the salient points, which is why.
What if we pay him?
Pay him to fight with us? Well,
I don't know about
just
that. To make the show even rant the show up even more.
Well, one of the reasons why ETVS's show is so big is that he sets up scenarios that he knows is going to create conflict. Like the other night when I was on, he had JDA on, and JDA has tried to come on the show multiple times because he knows that I've expressed that I'm not his biggest fan. And anytime you do that, he wants to like show up on your show. He's like, fight me at New York Comic Con. Yeah, that happened.
What is that shit about? That's almost like.
I don't know, because Mark Brook is not that big, and he was running away like a little bit from Gabe El-Taib, who's not that big and not that scary. So I mean, I don't know. He's like he's like get behind the keyboard or whatever. I mean, it's like Liam telling JDA, "Come fight me," and he's in freaking Australia. It's never going to happen. It's just stupid. But we got Katie in Orlando. Hello.
What's
welcome
up,
in,
Katie?
welcome in. But it's all designed. I mean, when I was on the show, there's JDA right there, and if he brought Malin on, Malin would have come after me about the graveyard shift, because I'm not been glowing about graveyard shift. And he was like fretting that Malin wasn't on, and I was like, oh, that's what he's waiting for. He's waiting to see if Malin will come on.
Oh, I see.
And so I had to work, and I had better things to do with my life than to get yelled at by 3 millionaires or whatever. So I have a third shift job. I'm I'm asses and trying to keep my head above water here, and I got 3 millionaires that are waiting to ambush me on a freaking channel.
I never considered the idea though that Ethan set those dynamics up on purpose.
He does. He does. I mean, going on Dan Shaheen, he knows Dan Shaheen can't has got SJWs crawling up his ass trying to get him to, get a gotcha moment on EVS. And so he goes on the show, and, it's like a mongoose, and it's like if Roadrunner were to invite Coyote onto his live stream,
I see.
And it's just like, I see it coming. I mean, I saw it coming the other night. I knew exactly what was happening. I knew it was being set up. But he wanted it, so he was going to look benevolent. Okay, look, I'm pushing this campaign. I'm being reasonable here. And but then on the other end of that, it was going to be like, oh well, Cooper says this stuff about me, and he says stuff about JDA, and he says stuff about John Malin, and I just don't know why he's like this, because he was like setting that up into Twitter. He was saying, I don't know why you're like this, and I was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't breastfed as a child. That's on me. So that's why I'm like this, right? And
when he was on the Dan Shaheen show, I was stunned because he's he started talking about indie comics and the show indie. Did you watch it?
No, I make a conscious choice not to watch anything he's on.
So my point is, they get into this one book that's all about conspiracies. And I think Dan Shaheen is trying to draw Ethan out. Right.
He always is. He always is. Dan's just not smart enough to do it. And so, and EVS goes on the show. He likes to bat him around a little bit, get him wound up, and then say, oh, well, I'm so sorry you feel that way, Dan. And then he looks bigger, and Dan looks like an idiot. And then
savvy.
And then the legend of EVS grows, and flowers fall from the ceiling, and and he gets more accolades, and people are just, oh, he's such a great leader, blah blah blah. It's just all tedious. I mean,
I expect that level of savviness from both those guys actually, because they're pretty good at what they do.
Well, Dan's not savvy. You can't be savvy and be politically left. You can't.
That's not true.
You have to completely totally subvert a part of your psyche at this point to be left. You just have to.
That is true, but you could also do that and be savvy. I mean, how do you think they
name me one leftist that you would call savvy?
Well, I would think the people that ran like Barack Obama's campaign are savvy people, right? I mean, I think they're savvy with how the system works.
So you're saying the first black candidate for president, who had completely, totally blanketed coverage, positive coverage by the press, had absolutely softball questions in every way, shape, or form, had the red carpet rolled out for him in every single venue, and he was the savior of the country, and this guy becomes president, and America has arrived. And you're saying that those people had to be particularly savvy.
Well, I would say, and I would also add to your list that they had a fake candidate run against him on the second time. So
both times. But
actually, yeah, both times. That's right. John McCain, he was a traitor. So, but either way,
EVS is great, entertains his fans, promotes his friends, lets me drop links as I say it. Yeah, EVS operates. And you gotta understand, I respect what he does. Okay, he's this big platform, and he promotes a lot of people, or he pushes. He's kind of like the umbrella which we all have find safety. They all come after him, and I respect that. But but it would behoove me to understand just who I'm dealing with when I go. If I deal with him, I know what I'm dealing with.
Very wise. I think the way you did it was really.
You have to respect. You have to respect. I mean, I don't consider him an enemy, and I don't think he even thinks enough of me to consider me an enemy. But I'm a amusing plaything. Occasionally he decides that, oh, let me take another shot at Bunny. because I came on and the first thing he says is, "Look, he looks just exactly like a bunny. Is that why you telepathic bunny?" And and he expected me like, "Oh, sputter, 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 anger, anger, anger," and I was like, "No, let me tell you where that came from. Let me tell you exactly where it came from. That's why I'm telepathic bunny because of this, And then he tried another tactic, and I knew what was going on. I mean, and it's fine. It's fine. It's entertaining. It got Piper and it got Piper and Luke over the line. I'm perfectly okay dodging, fainting, and having fun on his show, I guess. Watching for all the traps that come up. And I mean, you see people go on his show all the time completely unprepared. They come in there, they got these pre-existing arguments that they've got lined up, usually by Vickyverse and her crew. And they're you don't bother. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But she's the controlled opposition. Okay, she's the controlled opposition. Anyway,
I got you. There always has to be one of those.
Right. Where I come from, that's how they talk to each other. Yeah, it's a man thing, right? You'd faint if you heard how the guys at my work talk to each other. Right. No, I wouldn't.
True.
No, I wouldn't. I know exactly. I know exactly how that goes. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't take any offense to it. I just understand what's going on and I play the game. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just the way things operate. And it's fine. It's totally, completely fine. I don't get offended by any of it. I thought you were the bunny because you like carrots. No, I do not like carrots. No, I am the bunny, once again, that I've said were shows that you were on, Belmont, because Stephen King in his book On Writing, which changed my whole entire trajectory of my writing career, has the first exercise is imagine a white bunny in a cage on a red table with a red tablecloth on it and has a blue number 8 on its side. Okay, you got that image in your head? I sent it to you. It's like a form of telepathy. No matter where I am, when I wrote that down, I sent it to you. And you got the same image in your head. You might have a different tablecloth. You might have a different size bunny. You might have a different cage. But you got the same image in your head. Writing is a form of telepathy. Telepathic bunny.
Is photography a form of mind control? Is a form of time travel?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it amazing?
It very much is. Yeah, it's moments frozen in time. It's a form of time travel. So that once again, Belmont is where that came from, and that's what I told him about the other night, and I even corrected him because I was talking about I saw him. He asked me if I backed it. I said no, I didn't back it because it didn't have a listed writer or editor. So anyway.
Asked you that.
Anyway, Vicky isn't controlled by anyone but angry cats meowing in her head. F Vickyverse and her minions, but yes, the less you know, the better. Right.
I don't know who that is. I gotta find out who that is.
Well, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's not very deep. She's basically been the head auntie of Comicsgate for a while now, and every once in a while she surfaces with new accusations or whatever. Right. Just had a moment of roasted rabbit. Right.
Is she like Renfamous?
Well, she's less intelligent than Renfamous, or less. I'm not saying intelligent. It's more of what is the word when you animal cunning. She's less cunning than Vickyverse. I mean, Renfamous is. Okay, but she's more like she comes up with these accusations that are easily discounted or whatever, or rehashed from other accusations, and she comes at them from the side, or she comes at them from here. She does these back channels, and makes all these accusations or whatever, and none of them that are even if they were backed up, they're really inconsequential, and right. So every once in a while, EVS will bat her around for a little bit and then send her back to her cat riddled hovel to come up with new things to come at him with. And I don't know what her obsession with him is, honestly. To be honest, I say, okay, I tell people I'm not an EVS fan, so I don't follow him. You know, I don't follow him. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no law that says that I have to follow him. You know, Vicky's the off-brand room from us. Not worth the time to find out more than that. Right? Exactly. No, I've got bigger fish to fry than taking shots at EVS. Okay, basically in our community, writing is still being denigrated. Writing is still being downplayed, and writing is still being ignored. Anyway, 1 second. Alex says she went after Ripa nonstop for months trying to pick Isom apart, and every single thing she came up with was nonsense. Oh yeah, I know, definitely. What she could have gone after him about was the fact he had no writer and he had no experience writing, and it showed. You know, it showed in
You
the
don't know
book.
if it's shown because you haven't read the book yet.
Well, the people that I respect.
Oh, they have read it. I see.
Have read it. You know, I'm going off I'm going off of secondhand knowledge, but it's people I really respect. You know,
I wouldn't expect Shakespeare.
Well, I didn't expect Shakespeare, but I expected enough competence to move indie comics forward. And that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for it to be good enough that people that hadn't read comics in a while or hadn't been into comics at all would suddenly say, "Hey, what else is out there? I'm interested in this." And I don't feel it quite met that threshold. And that's my problem with it.
Let's just say on your book on community service, you make $2 million. Right? And then, you meet Eric at a con, and you're like, dude, you broke it wide open. Thank you.
If we've yet to see the results of this, okay, we've yet to see the results of it. If his second book is as big as the first, then I will bow down and say, "Hey, hail Ripa, you know, congratulations, man." You have to understand, I call balls and strikes, okay. I don't do things for personal avarice. I was rooting for him to do great. I was hoping that somewhere in his background, maybe that he had written a comic or that he had done enough writing to be competent, because he didn't listed that he had done anything like that. He writes copy for his show, and they said that the people I respect said that a lot of the speeches that were made sound like a copy for a podcast or a television show. Yeah, and so I was really hoping that he would be good enough that it would launch something. But all the things that I'm watching, all the reviews I'm getting back are just like, it was adequate. It wasn't bad, you know, and things like that. And what I was hoping for was like, this is an awesome book. You got to get this book. And I didn't see those reviews.
Right.
Hold on 1 second. Alex says, I've run across new fans. I've found some CG books at the back in ISOM. So at least anecdotally, I've seen some ripples here and there. All right. Awesome. Now we'll see if it builds.
How many backers do you think he had then? 1,000, 2,000?
Probably something like that. I don't really know.
Right?
A $35 a book, and he made 3 million. So that's what, 100,000 thereabouts.
I mean, that potential is a lot of people that could
get
pulled into the indie scene.
Oh, we got Corey Barton sighting. What's up, dude? What's up? Yeah. But the thing about it is, though, is people misunderstand me. I don't want good enough. I want people to reach a form. I want people to aim for excellence. And what I'm getting is people aiming for adequacy. And the reason why my show is here is I want people to strive for more. I want people to want to work on that script as much as they're working on their pinups. You know, I want people to craft their worlds like they're crafting their splash pages. I want them to be as obsessed with their character development as they are with whether their character has a suffuse of pouches. Okay.
Right.
I want people to be as fascinated with the art of creating their universe and the crafting of everything that goes into it. Right now, I mean, there's a comic out there with a girl who is jewel encrusted.
Okay.
And she evidently flies. How does she fly? I don't know. I think you'd be pretty heavy with jewels, but evidently there's like projectiles going down, and somehow that's propelling her forward, which is not physics. It's not good physics. So,
well, it depends. You don't know that. You have to know more about the character, because Superman flies and he can pick up a dump truck and fly, right? So I mean,
yeah, but Superman has an anecdote that says why he can fly like that.
That's true. Know? That is true.
But all I'm saying though is I'm saying that we gotta strive for excellence. We've got to be more concerned with these things. Joe Catapano, okay, who wrote Star Circuit, spent years on that book because he realized that to write his script, he didn't have the adequate skill set. So he went back to the drawing board, got some writing books, wrote enough that he felt like he was good enough to write his script. But he said, this is a priority. He started out with that. Then he goes to draw it and says, okay, I'm not that good. I'm not good enough to draw this yet. So he practiced and practiced until he got good enough to draw it.
He is good enough, yeah.
But he was looking for excellence, and he got it. If you look at that comic, it's gorgeous. All the I's are dotted.
And I was impressive.
All the I's are dotted. All the T's are crossed. Hold on 1 second. All right. It's a superhero book. They're superpowers. Yeah, there you go. But explain physics behind Superman's nigh infinite strength scientifically. It's because of his density of his body and density of every cell in his body. And he's Kryptonian. So.
But it's not just that. It's also the fact that he's powered by the yellow sun.
Yeah, right. That could be magical jewels. She's super hot. I don't think you meant to take some things too serious. It's entertainment meant to be fun. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, guys.
So can I say one thing though? So because you brought up Superman, so when you look at how DC explains how the powers work and how Marvel explains how the powers work, DC is unbelievably vague sometimes. Super strength and super impervious to harm, right?
Right.
And then the Hulk, they'll say, well, he gains 800 pounds of mass within seconds.
Right.
And we think it's because of a dimensional thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like DC really sucks that way. They really don't. By the way, okay, so I found one really good DC encyclopedia, and it's on their actual website.
Right.
And so it's almost ridiculous, though, because Batman is almost like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Awesome at everything. He could do anything.
Right.
He can bench 1,000 pounds, although he has no time to work out. Okay. So you kind of, I mean, at least with Captain America, you can say he has a super soldier serum, right? I would not make Batman bench 1,000 pounds. I'm sorry.
What are you talking about, Eastland Burkholder? What are you talking about? You hope it gets better soon. Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I know what your point. I see your point. I see your point there. Okay, we got Belmont coming in. What's up, dude?
I'm here.
You're here. There it goes. All right. He's done. All right, Belmont, take a nap. Anyway.
Already?
No, just kidding. All right. Well, I hope whatever's going on with you, Kate, I hope it does get better. You have our prayers.
Florida got hit, man.
That's right. Orlando. That's right. We did get hit down there, didn't we?
I got an aunt in Fort Myers.
Yeah. Superman, he's an alien from space, happens to look human, and green diamonds kill him, and he reverses time by flying the world really fast. Now, that's the movie. That's not the... Yeah. I just don't see this a valid critique of a book in this genre. I get you. All right. Yeah, we disagree on it. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
But he's not... I wouldn't say Bunny's really critiquing as much as he has an opinion. And I think
there's going to be more people back her book than we'll ever see my book, and I understand that. She's got a crowded crowd, and she's definitely cultivated it, and more power to her, man. I want people to succeed. I really do.
One thing I'm doing with my book, and that I'm hoping that somebody pays attention to it, is I'm kind of I like to think through how things work. This is back to your point.
Well, I'm like that. And I'm just saying that if you spend enough time on the writing, that you can explain, at least give some feasible reason as to why these things happen.
Right.
Like the whole entire solar powered Superman, denser cells, denser physique, and he has ability to cancel the Earth's gravity. Whatever energy field that emanates around his body. I mean, they at least do that.
Well, and it's also part of the fun, right? Because
I mean, I know it's superheroes. I totally get it. It's just me saying that I think that we can just do better. We do better on the writing, and I know she's going to kill it. And more power to her.
One person that's also pushed having editors was Elvis.
Solar power, man. Converts light rays into very small amounts of power. Can charge his cell phone. There, it made Superman realistic. There you go. Right. There you go. Good job. Anyway,
it's one of those things where I've seen other people push this concept of having an editor look at your work. And I think so. You're not the only one. There's maybe the movement isn't as big as you want it to be yet.
Yeah.
But I also think, let's just say this, over time, as this happens and the books do get better, maybe people will have to compete with that. Right?
Well, yeah. As long as the book is entertaining and fun, I'll buy it. You can go on forever, explain the character's detail and backstory, but in the end, it's going to be a marketable character. Yeah.
That's true.
But what the problem I'm getting, Corey, and the problem that I'm seeing, and I've got books and books and books and books in there, and I back CG hardcore. I back everybody. I back the big guys. I back the small guys. Okay. The issues that I run into are the fact that I got no character development whatsoever. I got no people that I feel especially that I care for, that I care what happens to. You got some books that I've gotten rather large in CG where people die, and I just turn the page. I don't have to process it. Oh, that person died. Oh, okay. Well, it's like a slasher flick. Oh, the obnoxious teenager on the left got a screwdriver stuck to his eyeball. Oh, right. That was a grody death. Moving on. But then we got.
This is Cooper's rant about these standards. And he wants to see better standards. And since he's a writer, this is his big thing, and he's not wrong.
Right. So hey guys, hey Aaron Jordan. I guess you're slumming it today.
Good stuff.
What's up? Phone about to die. I can't stay long. That's all right. Thank you for coming. Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is the reason why my channel was here. The reason why my channel's here is I'm hoping that by giving people some advice, giving people some like feedback on writing, and if they don't know what bad writing is, then they're never going to know what good writing is. And what we've got right now is not bad writing, it's just adequate. Okay, the hybrids universe is one that I point to. Okay, now the art, there's probably people with better art in CG, but it's good art, okay, and it's enjoyable art, and it fits the book. But what really sets it apart is the fact that I care about these characters, and frickin' Luke Stone, an evil genius that he is about to kill a bunch of them off in this next comic, and I'm like, kills me that he's going to do that. It matters to me because it matters.
He has a master plan, though.
Oh, I know he does. Hold up.
Hold on.
My CPU is smoking a pack of shit. Okay, well that's lovely. Thank you.
Corey said something here I want to bring up.
Go ahead.
Corey said, I think it's hard to develop a character over a single issue. These are all new franchises. Think about how long Superman's been around.
Yeah.
but it's not exact. I would just kind of disagree with Corey a little bit here because, and I'm gonna give you a good example. I've never written a comic book. This is my first book.
Yeah.
My character develops from the first page to page 52.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see her thought process change, right? And on a whole other note, you are kind of stuck. Well, if you're Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman, you have to live in this sphere of what's acceptable with this character, right? I mean, and if you get out of it, people get crazy.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple examples here. Okay, one example is Batman Year One. All right, James Gordon. Yes. James Gordon was not really fleshed out till Batman Year One. People didn't really care where he came from. He was just like somebody that gave Batman his marching orders, or that you told Batman what he needed help with, right? He was the man that's standing in the gap, but we didn't know where he was coming from. We didn't know his thought processes. But in that one comic book, we learned who he was. We learned what he was capable of. We learned how he thought about the world. And we never even ever inhabited Batman. We never found out what made Batman tick. We just saw it from outside. He had like journal entries. We saw his anguish about his parents and the fact that first time out he got stabbed, because he took on the whole entire street and got stabbed, and then he's just sitting there bleeding to death and allowing himself to bleed to death because he didn't think he deserved to live. And we got all this character development in one book, and it stretched what we thought about Batman. Okay. And it was all in the writing. You can do it. You can introduce a character. You can make people care, or have people care about that character. And you can have people reasonably know who this person is and want to follow with them. And it's all in the writing.
Let me ask you this. Maybe Belmont can give me his opinion too.
Strive for Excellence is great. Yeah.
Frank Miller had already done standard books. So when he did Batman Year One, you can arguably say he mastered the genre at that point.
Right.
So I mean, even his Daredevil run blew the normal level off.
Born Again. There's before Born Again and Daredevil after Born Again.
Right.
Changed everything.
But my point is his skills. So you're saying he took over Batman and he did Batman Year One. He is a master at that point, right? I mean, I would not say there's few people in CG who are that good,
right?
As far as a writer goes.
All right, talk amongst yourselves for 1 second. I will be right back.
All right.
His pizza's here.
Yeah, no, not quite. But let me mute. I'll be right back.
Belmont, what do you think about? Did you read Batman Year One?
I did not. I haven't bought a mainstream comic in many, many, many years, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Okay, Batman Year One came out probably 30 years ago. It's done by, the art is awesome. It's not Frank Miller artwork though. It's another guy, Dave Mazzucchelli, and it's worth getting.
I've heard of that one was good. I've just never read it. I was never really big into DC comics, even when I collected comics. I was more into Marvel and Valiant, Image, Dark Horse. All that stuff was good back then.
Right.
Yeah, and some indie stuff I was getting too back then. So I wasn't really getting a lot of DC. Wasn't really into DC.
Well, let me go and get caught up on it over here. Alex says it's also easier to become attached to characters you're writing, drawing, editing, or otherwise exposed to outside of the first time you pick the book up. Yeah. In other words, you're inherently biased, cannot become unbiased, which is why you need an editor, which is why you need a reader and you need an editor. Yeah. It's it. Aaron says it's not that hard. Figure out what the character wants to accomplish in the issue. Show how they can do that with all the obstacles in their way. Their drive and the threats drive should push the story. Yeah,
that's true.
We got a new one. Hyperion Vel says first Doctor Strange story is only 5 pages, and it not only introduces his character, goes across dimensions, fights bad guys, gets betrayed by the guy that hired him, and comes back and gets revenge.
Wow.
Yeah. Decompressed storytelling. Yeah, right. I think decompressed storytelling kind of got people into a weird node. Yeah.
That Batman icon's pretty cool too. that he has.
Yeah. That is that's very good.
Because we're talking about Batman Year One, and it looks kind of like that.
Right. Every character has a goal. Tell us how they plan to reach it. Do they work with others toward their plans in the process? Right. But see, the thing about it is when I the other night I mentioned that every single book, even if it's part of a bigger whole, should have an arc, should have a reason for being, should have a purpose for being there. Especially if you're going to ask people to wait a year or 2 years for the next book.
Right.
They should have a book in their hand that is its own entity, even if it's part of a bigger whole. And I was getting like these blank looks, and I mentioned that one of the criticisms that I heard from about ISOM was the fact that it looked like he had a big book, a big script, and that he was going to like produce this gigantic story arc. And instead of like doing individual arcs, he just cut the book up. And so this happens in several multi-story arcs that I've seen, to where people just basically they just took their script and said, "Oh, this is a good stopping point." Snip. But it's basically they didn't think about the when you break it into smaller parts, you have to rearrange it. You have to find a way to create its own story arc. I did this recently. I decided to break my bigger book down into smaller books to make it more reachable for me, because I don't have the unlimited funds that some do, or rich daddies. So what I did was, but after I did that, I realized that I had my script no longer fit what I was purporting to do, because the arc was spread across 3 books, and i.e., I needed that story arc is still in place, but I have to find a reason for each of these 3 books to exist. What is the purpose for these 3 books, and how do they fit in the larger whole? And it was one of the greater writing challenges I've ever had in my life. But I could have just done what other people have done in this community, and just say, well, you know what? Once they get all 3 books, they'll fit together. They'll see how it goes. Okay. But are they going to be around for that 3rd book?
I'm going to point out one factor, though, that you just mentioned.
Go ahead.
You only came up with this challenge because you forced it on yourself.
Right.
And that's a big factor with all of us, because it's easy to become complacent with everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
So if you don't want to have, if I don't want to make issue number 2 of Shadowpunk better than number 1, it's not going to be better. I have to literally force myself. That's actually one of the curses of being an artist. You get into this thing like, oh yeah, I did 1 issue, I can do another one, but you don't realize you're going to make that. You're going to push yourself.
Yeah, it's this damn headset. It was too close to my mouth.
Yeah. It was ASMR just for you, Kate. So it is what it is. Anyway,
Orlando, by the way, I don't think got hit that bad.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is reason you have to make that commitment. You have to want your book.
That's the factor.
To be good.
Yeah.
And you have to, if you don't have the writing ability to get that book to excellence, hire someone or get a beta reader or get an editor that's going to help you get it there and tell you what you have to hit. Because if you're not a writer, or you don't write all the time, or if you haven't made any commitment to the art form, then you're not going to know. I mean, he probably, he's not going to know that his book needed to go places that it didn't get to. He doesn't know that.
But there's the 3rd argument, though.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, the 3rd
argument. Go ahead.
It would be that let's say you didn't have those things you just described, and nobody did help you. Your book is going to suffer, and then you're going to learn the hard way.
Well, it's not that nobody didn't help him; he just didn't ask for it.
No, I'm saying, writer artist number one. We're
Right.
talking about this guy, whoever, this fictitious person. You know,
it's not fictitious. You know who I'm talking about.
Well, you're talking in general. A lot of people. You're talking about the whole movement.
In general, yeah, in
Yeah,
general.
I mean, so I mean, you know, you can actually not strive or not get somebody to help you do these things. But,
well, if you don't see them, you don't see the value in it. If you don't see the importance in it, if you think all I got to do is get it over the line, and you know, that's all I care about is getting it over the line to meeting the deadline, or well, they don't care about deadlines, but just getting it over the finish line and getting it out to people. And you know, and they don't think about permanence. They don't think about building their brand. They don't think about characters, the people building a love of characters in people. And so people are like invested in the future of these characters. You know, if they can put your book down while your character's in peril and walk away from it, you failed. Okay? You know, if they don't care whether or not your character is in a sticky wicket or not, if your character's like imperiled at all, or that your character is hurting, or that your character has a loved one that they're worried about, or if they don't empathize, if they don't care one way or another. I mean, we got a bunch of Kenny writers, okay? I call them Kenny writers. South Park, they killed Kenny, those bastards. We move on, you know, never mentioned it again, you know. Oh, Kenny died again. Okay, Kenny died again, let's move on. And it was that was their way of poking fun at the phenomenon. But if you don't care, I mean, that matters. Okay. Long Harbor, put out by Iconic Comics. It's written by a Ukrainian writer. You know, it's his name. It starts with an S. It escapes me, Satoshi or something like that. But he wrote that book, and Alexander Mirabal, who just does, you know, Lovecraft proud with his art, and you put those two together. But he had this 5-panel discussion of this crew of the ship, and there was more character development, and I understood that crew on a more fundamental level. By the end of those 5 panels, then I have 3 gargantuan books from one of the biggest creators in CG.
What's this book called?
Harbor? It's called Long Harbor.
Long Harbor.
Long Harbor?
Yeah. Wow. Long Harbor. And it's available from Iconic right now. Look it up. It's the art's incredible, but the writing is really amazing. Okay. It's amazing. This guy lives in Ukraine, and he's currently got a book that's like suspended because he doesn't know where his country's going to land. But you read that Long Harbor, man, and you feel something, man. It's haunted me, and it's like I kept getting driven back to that book to look again. It like stayed in my head. I'd be at work, and all of a sudden it popped back into my head. You know, because it's like it's mystery at the heart of it, and it stuck in my head. It haunted me. Okay, that's what, and that's what it's. It was basically a horror book. Okay, and this other big one. I've had 3 books, and I've only found one character to care about, and they never use him. I found one character to care about that all 3 books in that gigantic cast of characters. There's a supplemental books. There's all this other stuff going on. And you know, the writer has written like 13 campaigns in this community. And I've gotten 5 of his books, and I've never found a character to care about.
Wow.
Except for that one. I did. I stopped backing him. Man. You know, but the thing about it is, he writes a beautiful panel, and writes, and people do art. People love the artists love writing or drawing his panels because he writes a beautiful panel. But he has absolutely.
I would also say, like, we've all read comics our whole life, and I think if you were pretty objective about it, at least Marvel and DC Comics, they're 60-40, 60% cool art, 40% cool ass writing.
But see, it used to be 50. It used to be over 50. It was like 60, 40.
You think so?
Yeah, I know so. I mean, the art was incredible, but the writing was just like next level.
Right.
Mutant Massacre. I mean, Mutant Massacre is not going to be on the walls of any museum, okay? But that series gutted me as a child when I read that. And I was an early teenager, but when I read those books, I mean, they would kill off people in that series, like that's like this Morlock lady who like took kids in, okay? Yeah, she was an empath and she took like kids in.
Okay.
And she like one of them was Leech.
Yeah, I remember Leech.
Yeah, I think her name was Mara Lee or Rosalie or something like that. But she was trying to like send empathy into Scalp Hunter, one of the Marauders. She was trying to like project empathy into him so he wouldn't kill her and the kids that she was protecting, because she was blocking them with her body.
That's cool.
And then he's like, you're trying to project empathy into me, but I have no empathy. And he just shot her and the kids.
Wow.
And it was a brutal thing. Of course, but then later on, these kids go into the Morlock tunnels, the power pack, looking for Leech, trying to save him, because Franklin Richards saw him in a dream, because Franklin Richards is like a next level god or whatever. But he saw him in the dream, so they go down there to try to protect him, or to find him, and they see her dead, and so they have to break it to Leech that his adopted mama's dead, and he's got a broken language, and he's like, Leech want mama, and he's crying, and they're trying to comfort him. And if you don't feel that,
right?
If you don't feel that, I don't know what's wrong. You're a sociopath. But I mean, I'm tearing up now, and I watched it I read that book almost 25 years ago, and I'm tearing up now just thinking about it.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about. You've got to reach people.
The thing you're describing is a high watermark in comics, right? But
that's the target. That's the target. Falcon X, SpaceX Falcon 9 scrubbed. Oh, okay.
So, something like West Coast Avengers to me is a standard. That's the typical comic, right? Yeah. Where it's got cool characters, cool artwork, quasi sci-fi storyline. Mm-hmm. Is that your phone, Belmont?
No, that's Drunk Craig. That's his
Drunk Craig.
Yeah, it's Drunk Craig.
So I mean, that's great to have that as a standard. And by the way, that is how indie comics can overtake those.
That's exactly how we're going to do it. Okay. Right now, they cannot write good stories. They can't. It's impossible for them to write good stories. It's impossible for them to do anything that up to that level anymore, because of all the politics, because of all the people above them that won't allow it through the gate. Okay. They will never, ever be able to write compelling stories like that again until they get rid of that corruption. And that corruption basically pays all the bills. And so there's no way that we're going to be able to get, equal them in art and production, but we can kick their ass in our writing.
Right.
We have that ability to kick their ass in our writing. That's where we can get them. Okay, we've got brilliant artists in CG, brilliant artists, and we've got some of the most brilliant. We've got people all around the world who will never sniff the mainstream, who have incredible talent.
Right.
And every single day we're seeing somebody new that's like, holy shit, where did that guy come from? Right. Every day we're seeing that. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. But we can't match the production levels that they have. We can't put something out monthly. But what we can do is we can write things so well that people will care. People will care about our characters. People care about our worlds, and people will come back to that book over and over again, even if they have to wait a year.
That should be the goal. right?
That's
because
the goal.
that's
That
where it
should be the
sticks.
goal.
But it's also like Journey, okay? It isn't just the writing. It isn't just the singing. It's the way that it all comes together.
The delivery.
One great thing, right?
Mhm.
And I think comics have to be the same way. You can't if you're a writer and you have to figure out how you're gonna. You have to figure if you're an artist like me, you have to figure out how you're gonna write. You're gonna because you can't let that go. You can't let that become something less than.
No, you can't. Good night, all. See you later, Kate. All right, night. Well, the thing that the reason why my channel is here is because if somebody's not saying it, that this is not up to standard. There's a higher level that we should be meeting here. If you don't have somebody out there saying it, then everybody's going to think that everything's fine, that adequate is good enough. And so basically that's the reason my channel was here. That's the rant. I want people to know that there is a level of writing out there that we can achieve if we work at it. But just mailing it in, just getting it over the line. Okay, let me get the script to the artist and let the artist get me all the way there. The artist can't get you all the way there. If the dialogue's not there, the characters are not there, the plot's not there, there's no arcs for people to hang on to for 2 years until they get the next book. If you do not write adequately, then you will not have a book good enough to keep these audiences coming back. I mean, what they're seeing in the mainstream is mainstream has convinced us that that's as good as it gets, and it's not. We know how good it's get, and comic book nerds know. Comic book nerds know where they've fallen from, but normies coming in are not going to know that it was it's how much better it was. We remember.
It's and also fans want the cool shit. Bottom line, they want the cool shit, and you know what? If you're not giving it to them, then you failed. You know.
Well, there are people out there that don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about characters. They don't give a shit about worlds. They just want like big explosions and boobs. I get that. There's that
I want
contingent.
those things too.
Yeah, but while you have the explosions and boobs, why don't you give them somebody to care about? You know,
yeah,
I mean,
totally.
it's not an either or proposition. It can be a both and proposition.
Well,
okay.
I will say this. There's no Eric July did this thing where his platform is the product, and he basically is selling the comic book also. I hate to say that, but he was so good at building a platform. Frank Miller, if you didn't know who Frank Miller was, and he came online today talking to us, he wouldn't be able to sell it like Eric.
Right? No, he wouldn't have to, because we know who Frank Miller is.
No, I'm saying if you didn't know who the guy was at all, he never wrote anything. And he said,
well, I don't know. He was at Comic-Con, and he held court pretty adequately.
No, you're missing my point. If he never did anything ever, and today he walked in and he said, I'm going to write a comic book about these guys that live in Sin City, and you're going to go, what? That sounds crazy. He's not a salesman. Frank Miller is not a verbal salesman, right? So he wouldn't be. He can do everything else. And CG has a thing where basically going online and talking to people is how you sell your comic book, which is not a bad idea. But I know you know this. You're buying the person also when you buy the comic, right? You're buying because EVS is a charming guy and he's fun to listen to talk to. So you're attached to his battle with these SJWs, right? So and his book is cool. Okay, I'm not gonna say this. His book is cool.
Yeah, I've got the executive box coming. Yeah.
So my point is, but that is a huge, huge, huge factor in CG, and for some reason, killer writing up till today has not been the selling factor in comic books, in CG comic books. That's my opinion.
Do you think it needs to get there though?
Totally. I think you're 100% right.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it didn't sound like you. It didn't sound like you agree with me there for a second.
No, I think you're 100% right, but I'm describing the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just basically you just you know, I was. This is my case. This is my case. I'll continue to agitate for better writing. I'll continue to tell you what better writing is, and I'll continue to platform good writing on this channel. And I will continue pushing well-written books on this channel. And that's why this channel is here. And maybe I'll never get the big numbers that other people will get because of that. But what I'm hoping is that if I keep fighting and keep pushing, keep irritating people, keep getting cussed out in my chats, you know, if I keep saying, okay, this is not good enough. I don't care if you have a big platform. If this is not good. This is not good enough. If I keep pushing that, and people start saying, you know what, maybe it isn't good enough, and maybe it'll push these creators into doing better. You know, because we've got to raise our level. We've got to raise our level.
Is like, for example, your book coming out would actually raise the standard.
Well, ideally, fingers crossed. Anyway, anyway, I got to feed my little diabetic dog because she's on a schedule, so I'm gonna have to cut it off right there. But thank you guys for showing up. Thanks to the fluffiest chat and all of YouTube. Thank you, Belmont, for holding up your end, man. It was great having you on here, dude. You just helped out a lot, man. Anyway.
All right, man. I was in the middle of making dinner.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I appreciate you being on here. Anyway, thank you for Shadow Punk for showing up and being your usual extraordinarily reasonable, irritatingly so self.
Yes. I could be a contrarian too.
Well, you're one of those people that always sees both sides of the sides of you, and it keeps me on my toes, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I'm not looking for yes, man. If somebody gives me pushback, I'm fine. Aaron says, "Tell Rosie I said hi." Yeah, we will. Anyway,
yeah, how's she doing? Yeah, how's she doing? She's on medication
right now.
Well, we're trying to get a baseline for her sugar. We're trying to keep her on a feeding schedule, so we can get the check her blood and figure out just how she's absorbing food or whatever. But she's not really happy right now because we're feeding her like the same amount every, and she's not getting the treats that she used to and things like that. So we're getting, yeah. So she's not happy about that, but hopefully we'll get this sugar regulated. If we get this done, maybe they can tell us the right insulin amount to give her, and we can get her regulated. But that's our hope. Anyway. Thank you for asking. Thank you for the fluffiest chat on all YouTube. Thank you, Shadow Punk and Belmont, for showing up. Even though I kid with you, you are one of my best friends in all of CG, and I'm glad to have you on board. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Movie.
You're an awesome guy for a pothead. There you go. All right. So I had to take my shot. It was getting too sentimental there. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anyway, that's all we got for the evening. So y'all have a good night.
Have a good one.
Later.
All right. Bye.
Tell me what's on your mind.